This is the acquisition report and looking at source and medium. By source and medium, I'm seeing here Pinterest, Google, Bing, and this is organic search, Yahoo organic search, Facebook. If they were doing Google paid, that would be a separate line item. So it's showing me the source, meaning the site, and the medium, whether it's organic, paid, or even email or something like that. And the problem is, and I see this on so many companies when I look at their analytics, is this. Zeros. Zeros in the revenue column, 0 in the transaction column, 0 in the e-commerce conversion rate. If you have not put in the value of objectives, the value of goals for people to accomplish on your website, then your analytics have a big hole in them. And this means they're still off the shelf and you haven't customized them yet for your company. What is the value when someone completes a lead form? How much is that worth to your company when someone does what you want them to do? But when you start looking at these reports, which search engine is most influential in not just driving traffic, but driving leads? Which paid campaign is not just influential in driving traffic, but driving leads? And so we get into that. And so this is then what I'm looking at is now when I start looking at my objectives, when I start looking at what I want people to do, what is the value when people do these things? What's the value to the organization? So for everything I track on the website, for every goal, for every objective, there has to be a corresponding value to the business in order for anything to make sense. So if I just get someone's email address, for example, like on my site, I ask people to subscribe. That's my #1 conversion point, is just that subscribe. Well, how much is an email address worth? Depends on who you ask. If you look at some of the spam I get, a list of 1 million emails is worth about $200. But those are all very spam-based emails. If you start looking at doing some co-op, I mean, basically what I come up with is I've got an average. If I get someone's email address, that's worth $10. Because I'm looking then at the revenue that I produce through my email marketing, and if I back that out of how much revenue is produced in a quarter based on how many emails are sent, there's my average value per email. And so that's what I back that out to be. And so every time someone subscribes, I get that in my analytics, that here is the value of that subscriber, here's where they came from, and now I can start tracking based on value rather than just on KPIs. So when you get into Google Analytics, the first thing you need to do is identify the goal. What is it? Is it a form? Is it a sale? Is it creating an account? You can even get into here, like you can track people that watch videos. Watching a video on your site, that means they've got a question and the video could be an answer. That's an objective. The second thing is well, how am I going to track that? Typically, you track that with the thank you page. So if someone fills out a form and they click the button to send their information, ideally, you send them to a thank you page. And I have found when I create a custom thank you page for that specific conversion, for that specific registration or lead form, my sales rate goes up. Because on that thank you page, I can give them content. Because what happens if you contact someone and they don't have the information they need? You got to call back, sales rate goes down dramatically. So just by creating a custom thank you page with a list of what they needed to have for the call, increase the sales rate. This is what analytics is coming up with ideas about how do we do this, how do we better present this, but not only that, it made it better trackable. So if someone creates an account, is it worth $10, $100? If they register, what's that worth? Is the value of a lead? That's where you pop it right into there. And once you do that, you start seeing data show up. Good, wonderful, sexy data. And so this is what happens when you start setting these goals. It gives you a sense of here's all the things people can do on the site, and here's what they're doing. And now I'm getting more practical data as far as what's happening. It's understanding long-term my customer value, my lifetime customer value. The average amount of a sale, the number of repeat transactions, and how long I typically keep that customer, that is the simple formula for lifetime customer value. If the average value of a sale is $2,000 and I have 2 transactions per year and the average retention of that customer is 3 years, then that gives me a $12,000 customer lifetime value. And that's also, once I understand that, now I know the value of a new customer. And so I can put that into my analytics, that when I get a new customer on my site, and this typically is more e-commerce focused, or it can also be, we do this a lot for software service companies or anything like that, that once we get this, but then we also want to calculate the churn rate, how often do people leave, but when we know the value of a customer, now we know the value of getting a lead. We know the value of getting the sale. We know these numbers, and now we can plug them into the analytics and customize it specifically to your business. All right, so this is where we take a few minutes here. I've got a lot of questions, so evaluate where you're at. Look at your website. What is the business objective? What do you want people to do? And then what are the goals for the user? Are you tracking those right now? Are you tracking all the goals that you can? And then what are the estimated value for those conversion points? And also look around. What are other goals? What are other conversion points that you could be looking at?